What's happening, cats? I thought I'd monkey around with the Yamaha a little bit. The other day, I had a friend over and I was showing him the Yamaha, and I thought, well, I'll start it up for you. I said, starts up like on the first or second kick, and I turned the key on, and I had nothing. And I thought, well, that's strange, because I just put a new battery in it last year. So anyway, I pulled the battery out, and look at this. The negative cable, it wasn't even connected there. It's just kind of like corroded off. So that battery's no good. 1 year old battery, and it's no good. So they're only 20 bucks. I had to order a new one because nobody locally sells these little. This is a 6N4A-4D, which is real common in these smaller sport bikes. But, you know, unless you go to the dealer where you could buy one, you're probably going to pay 35, 40 bucks for it. I can go on eBay, and I bought the exact same battery for $19 and something. So yeah, I thought I'd get into this today and take the cover off the other side. See what I got to do to take this thing off and get into the clutch. So shouldn't be too difficult. So if you'll remember, we have to use what they call a JIS screwdriver on these, because these are they're like Phillips head screws, but they have a different depth to and if you try to use a regular Phillips head bit on it, they won't work. So you have to use these JIS, which kind of are blunt on the end. And to get some of these off, I've had to use this impact driver. So you basically put it on there and you give it a whack or two with the hammer, and it loosens them up. Because some of these are, this one down here is pretty much stripped out, so I'm going to have to buy new JIS bolts for that before I put it back together. And I don't know why. The other side I bought all brand new bolts for. This side I didn't. And you know, you kick yourself in the butt and go, what was I thinking? Why didn't I do it earlier? So yeah, anyway, I'm almost there. All right, I got it off. It's dripping oil, so I'm just going to let it drain for a while. But that exposes the clutch there. And it looks like I ripped the gasket too. Here's the gasket. I'm going to have to get a new gasket for that too, otherwise it'll leak. Yeah, it's glued on there. I probably put some sticky on there to, you know, to hold it in place, but it's been pressed on there for a year now, so. All right, well, I'm going to let that go for now. I get back to it. At least I got a start on it. And then I'll have to go online and order the clutch part, the clutch plates and the springs, and then some new JIS screws. If everything goes to plan, I'll have this thing brapping. Brap, brap, brap. Throwing up some sod, and it'll be fun. And then I got to get to this thing too, which I'm never eager to dive into something, but once I get started on it, I'm okay. I just, you know, one thing about mechanics I don't like is getting greasy, oily, and dirty. That's the only part I don't like. If it was a clean situation, I mean, I'm trying not to get oil on my floor, you know. I keep wiping my hands on my trousers, and you know, then they got to go in the wash. So it just comes with the territory. But you know, I kind of enjoy it. All right, I got to go in and order some parts. It's like almost 60 degrees today. Everything's thawing out. Hopefully my sidewalk goes back to normal again. The ground's still frozen, so it's not going down any. But maybe after this week, with the temperatures being up, things will start to thaw out around here. At least all the ice is gone out there on my driveway, so I'm very, very happy about that. All right, clutch parts are ordered on that. I ordered a whole set of JIS screws off of eBay. They didn't have them on that. I go to this website called Yambits, and it has all the Yamaha parts on there, everything you would need. You know, I got new clutch springs, clutch plates, and the friction plates. And I also got a complete gasket set. Unfortunately, you can't just buy the one piece. You got to get the whole set. So I had to buy a gasket set again. That's fine. They're not that, you know, 20 bucks for a gasket set. The gasket's probably worth 25 cents, but you got to do what you got to do. So, all right, I'm all set. Now all I got to do is wait for those orders to come in, and I can put that thing back together again and get it brapping. I think I got about 4 more payments left on this truck. It's a 2018. The reason that I bought it, it's a 2500 HD Chevy Silverado, and I love it. It's a gas hog, but I drive it everywhere. It does have the 4-wheel drive, and I've got some, they're not real aggressive tires, but they're a little more than just the street tires that came with it, so it does get a lot better traction, you know, when I go off into the yard or whatever. It's still got plenty of salt on there, needs a good car wash, but the roads are still covered with salt, and until it rains and rinses them off, I mean, you can wash the truck and it's just going to get covered with salt again. Anyway, I had forgot I left my drill in there and the old mailbox. I swapped out the mailbox the other day. When I bought this truck was because of the tow package on it, and it has to be able to tow this. I call this the Hemi. It's a Salem Hemisphere. It's 34 foot and probably loaded. It's probably over 10,000 pounds. So that's a pretty good load to carry. And over the past years that I've been using it with this truck, I didn't quite have my the gain on my brake, my trailer brakes set high enough. They were working, but most of the pull, most of the draw was being pushed on the truck, and in doing so, I warped the rotors. So I had to take it into the shop and get new rotors put on it. Cost me about 1,700 bucks. And they said the brakes were really in good shape, but the rotors were actually warped. So all 4 of them were off a little bit. So, and I knew that because every time I would hit the brakes, I would get that, you know, wobble in the steering wheel. And if I was towing that Hemi and I hit the brakes, it was even worse. I mean, it was almost like I had to be careful so I didn't lose control because the thing would shimmy so bad. So that's fixed now. Once I get to towing that trailer again, I'm going to reset the gain on this, make sure that I'm getting a lot of the brake power on the, well, evenly with the Hemi and the truck. You know, the other thing I got to do on this Hemisphere is it's got this old charcoal grill on the back that doesn't work. It was a piece of crap from day one, and I'm going to take it off of there. It's just got a couple bolts that hold it on there. Not a big deal, but that's another little simple project I got to do, and then I'll just throw that out to the trash because it's worthless. I've got 63,078 miles on there. And the reason that I bought this truck, because it was the tow package. So up here on the shifter, there's a button you push, and it goes in the tow mode, which that does engine braking. If I'm going down a grade or something, all I have to do is just barely tap the brakes, and it downshifts, and the engine, helps with the to slow the vehicle down too. So that's a nice option, and then it's geared for towing. So, and I don't remember what the gear ratio is for the shifting and everything, but it's a little different when you hit the tow mode. The other thing is you got your adjustment here for your trailer brake, for your gain and everything. And all that information actually, is displayed on the dash, which I really like. So, the thing's great for towing. I mean, it's designed to do that, and I really like it. So, since I've owned this vehicle, a lot of people ask me what that is. When you got a rabbit tail on your keychain, it's actually a bobcat tail. I bought it at, it's probably the 5th one that I've had, because I make them myself. I buy the bobcat tails from the fur company. They're not very expensive, a couple bucks. You can get a bobcat tail. You can get whatever kind of tail you want. I just like the bobcat tail. I think it's unique. And I put a little leather strap on there and hook it to my key fob. Anyway, the biggest problem I had with this truck was 2 years ago when the computer screen went wonky on it. It was like an old television where it would just roll like the vertical roll, and I couldn't get it to do anything. And I mean, I use that for navigation. I use it for the radio. It does a number of different functions. It'll sync up with my phone. So nothing was working right. And then I took it in, and it was literally in the shop for 2 weeks for them to get to the bottom of what the problem was, and they ended up having to replace the whole computer, which ended up costing me over $2,000. I was irate. I said, good grief, you put these computers in these things and you have no warranty on it. There was no warranty on the computer. I mean, everything on the truck's got a warranty on it, but not the computer. And I said, that's really ridiculous. Well, the dealer, they don't want to do anything about it. So I went ahead and wrote a letter to General Motors, and I gave them an earful too. I mean, I was fair. I was straight up though. I said, I love this truck, and I love the functions, and the onboard screen there is great for what it functions to do. But when it doesn't work, why isn't it covered under a warranty? And I said, that's crazy. You guys are putting more and more computers in these vehicles, and then you don't even cover them because they're going to go bad. And I said, that's just a big ripoff to the public. And I said, I want some kind of compensation for this somehow or another. Well, you know what? They sent me a check for like $375. And I thought, okay, well, that's better than nothing. I mean, that was almost like 25-30% off of what I paid for the repair. It did not cover any of the dealer's service fees, mechanic fees. It just covered the parts and stuff. So that's what GM was throwing in there, their what they considered their fair share of helping me out with the problem. At least I got some help from GM, so I'm not going to cry about that. They could have just said, or ignored me completely, but they didn't. So that was good. It is 4-wheel drive. Just switch the button here to 4 high or 4 low. And it monitors all of that on the screen. It also shows you the tilt, and when you're in a danger tilt, if you're doing off-road stuff, it's pretty cool. And I really haven't taken this off-road per se. I've had it all around the yard here doing stuff. I've I cut down a great big huge pine tree for the neighbors, a big spruce tree, and it was right in their front yard, and it was a big mess. I mean, spruce trees, good grief, there's a million branches on them, and there was all kinds of wood. And I said, well, what are we going to do with everything? And they said, well, we're just going to keep dragging it to the backyard. So if you just cut it up right now, that'll be good enough. And I thought for a minute, and I said, I got an idea. I came home and I got my tow chain. I went back over there. I used this truck. I hooked the tow chain up to the stump of that great big, I mean, it was like a 50-foot spruce tree. And I hooked the chain up to my tow hitch, and I dragged it all the way back into their backyard with the four-wheel low, and dropped it back there where they wanted to burn it. And then I just cut it all up right there, and they could just stack the brush right there where they wanted to burn it, and they stacked all the logs over on the side for firewood, and that was good. So yeah, this thing's a workhorse. It really is, and I really like it. I mean, it's got all the bells and whistles. It's got climate control. It's got cruise control. It's got the what I really think is cool about this truck. It's got those running lights up on the top, like a semi. I did add this bug guard on the front. This thing. It is a AVS bug guard, and I don't know exactly what that does, but it adds a little style to the truck, I mean, I think it looks cool. I always wanted to get maybe a different, maybe a brush guard or something on, and Val always wanted me to get one too, but after I looked, I thought, what am I going to use that for? It's basically just aesthetics, just for looks, and I don't need that on this truck, so it's just throwing money away to do that. And then there was modifications that had to be done with the bumper and everything to get that brush guard to fit on there. And I mean, it would be nice if you hit a whack a deer or something out on the road to have one of those things on there, because that's like like the semis have those cattle guards on the front of their truck. That's pretty much what it would do on this, and protect your front end in case you hit an animal. And if you're traveling all over the country, on vacation, yeah, it could very possibly happen. The deer, and you get out west, there's antelope, and there's different critters out there. It could really do a lot of damage. I did have this tonneau cover put on. It is a tri-fold, so it flips here and it flips again. So the drawback to it is that when it's flipped open, it only goes to here because the rest of it's stacked right here. So you don't have the full length of the bed with it. But it's a nice solid tonneau cover, and it looks nice. And it's got some bird poop on it or something. It's got to go to the car wash. The other thing I've done is I put this crane in here. It'll lift stuff into the bed of my truck. It's just a little hydraulic pump, like a hydraulic jack. But it's locked in now in that position, but I pull this pin out here and I can swing it all the way around. I can extend the arm out to here, and I can lift up stuff to put in the back here that's too heavy for me to lift, such as my Predator 5000 generator. When I go camping and I need a generator, I can lift that into the back of my truck with that crane. I got a mouse trap back here. I don't know if you've ever seen one of these. It's got a roller, and you put peanut butter on the middle there, and the mouse runs out here and flips, boop, and drops in the bucket. And I've probably killed about 100 mice in that thing. They haven't bothered it this winter though, And I even have a mouse trap set up there, and they haven't even sprung that this winter. So I don't think I've had any mice in this garage this winter. The other thing that I can hoist up with that crane is the Coleman mini bike. So I would take that out and ride it today. I could ride it up and down the driveway, but the yard is like a swamp. I mean, look, it's still holding water there. And anywhere you walk out here, you're going to leave footprints. Your foot just sinks down into it. Well, cats, I've got some plans to go out to dinner tonight with some friends. I probably didn't mention it, but today is Fat Tuesday. It's Mardi Gras, and Fat Tuesday is the day before the Lent fasting, the Lent season that's coming up. So Fat Tuesday or Mardi Gras, you're supposed to just pig out and eat a bunch of food because you know what's coming up ahead, that you got to starve yourself. It's a religious thing. I don't practice it, but I do practice the Fat Tuesday. Because we're gonna, there's a little tavern that we go to that serves a Lent, well, actually a Fat Tuesday menu. And I mean, they have like alligator, they have clams and mussels and salmon and shrimp and all kinds of. I can't wait. I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be fun. So yeah, we're gonna get a table and there'll be a bunch of us and we'll just have a good time. But I gotta go in and get cleaned up for later so I can meet up with the crew. It's a little breezy today, but the temperature is perfect, man. I mean, this is what I like. It's like springtime. I'm looking forward to riding pretty soon. As soon as it rains and washes those roads off, bike's going out. But anyway, thanks for watching. I appreciate your support. Thanks for joining me, hanging in there with me. We'll continue on this mission that I have. I'll get the parts in, and I'll keep you guys involved in that throw together thing and see if we can get it running again. So I got a battery ordered, I got the clutch parts ordered, I got the new bolts ordered for the Yamaha. So it'll be fun just throwing that all back together and getting it running again and seeing if it'll spit up some dirt. It should. It used to do it before. When I was younger, you know, when I was in my teens into my early 20s and I rode that thing, I could wheelie that thing down the road. I don't know if I'd try that anymore. I'd end up going over backwards and break my neck. Anyway, thanks for watching. If you like my video, hit me with the like button. If you haven't yet, please subscribe and continue to join me. Leave your comments down below. And until next time, cats, I'll catch y'all later.